welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is Izzet Cori-Steel Tempo. This is a try-hard testing league, because I got some tournaments coming up, the Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy, as well as the Steel City Spectacular, some big Legacy tournaments for some big prizes, and I'm not totally enamored with Bug Beans and what I've been able to do with it in this current meta. Therefore, I'm taking a tour through the top decks of the metagame. I've already played Reanimator. I have recorded Demir Tempo. I'm not sure if this is going to come out before or after that, but that's also in the can somewhere. And this is the next stop on that list. I love tempo strategies. I love Delver strategies. I have had success with them in the past. They are undeniably always near the top of the Legacy metagame. The Brainstorm, Daze, Force of Will, Wasteland Shell. Undeniable, takes many forms, and this is one of them. I played this deck once before on the channel, back when Cori-Steel Cutter first came out, and I don't think I did the deck justice. I was not leaning in as hard as I could and treating it like a burn deck, which is a gear that you have to adopt when you're playing a Lightning Bolt deck with a bunch of Hasty Prowess creatures in it. The shell has grown quite a bit since then. It's been a couple months of iteration. The no bans came and went, and now we know that this is how we have to build our deck all the way into Eternal Weekend. This list got first place in a recent Magic Online challenge. Has a proven pedigree, though there are many things people are doing with the slots, the number of Tamiyo, the number of Borrower, the number of Murktide, whether you play Unholy Heat or Chain Lightning for additional face burn. There's a bunch of things you can do to customize this. I've seen builds that have Mishra's and Urza's Baubles in them to really shred through those cards, trigger those Cori-Steels. I've seen lists with and without Stifle. There are 2 copies in this one. This is not a card I normally like, but I do want to try it as a small package in this deck. And here it is. This is Izzet Cori-Steel, air quotes, Delver. Let's try it out. I'm on the play in round 1. Good start, no lands. This deck does play 18 lands, and 4 of them are Wasteland, so there's really 14 ways to cast your spells in this deck. Mulligans and keeping 1-landers are going to be part of the experience. Yeah, here we go. Straight to 5. Hate my life. Slightly worse than... Alright, so out of 14, so slightly worse than 1 in 4 cards in your deck actually cast spells, if we rule out Wasteland as a land. Okay, we found one. Had to look at 21 cards, but we found our 1 out of every 4. From here, I think I have to bottom Force of Will and Murktide Regent. Is that how we do this? The problem is, if I want to keep Force of Will, then I have no way to apply pressure. If I want to keep pressure, I have no way to Force of Will. I guess I could bottom Cori-Steel Cutter and Mishra's Bauble, keep Force Blue Card Ponder, or Force Blue Card Murktide. I guess that's the way I have both Force and a potential threat. I don't like this. Would have preferred that hand on 7, but okay, here we are. I am not going to cast this Ponder in case I need to Force of Will. Urza Saga. Happy to have my Wasteland. Lava Spur Boots. That card will probably be good at some point. I'm going to get the Surveil Land here. Kudos to the pilot whose list I borrowed here. Okay, that's sweet. Coming up with an 18 land deck where 4 of them don't cast your spells and 1 of them is a Surveil Land. Bold. I've been on 19 lands myself in tempo builds for the last couple years. I feel like 18 is a remnant from an earlier time, but the Mishra's Baubles in this deck let you shred, but also Cori-Steel Cutter's a 2-drop. Kind of a lot to ask. Alright, well, this is not a card I'm in great position to answer. I can just cast Ponder into the Void and trigger Dragon's Rage Channeler. I think what I have to do is force the Chalice pitching Murktide and then use Ponder to try to apply pressure. Alright, Ponder into the graveyard. Getting Delirium here would be big. That means either surveilling a creature or finding a Bauble. I'm going to Ponder rather than Brainstorm. Hey, surveilling a creature, let's go. I'll take it. Can I find Wasteland off this Ponder? I cannot, but I can find Force of Will. If I go Flooded Strand, DRC, Force of Will. Don't shuffle. This lets me Force of Will their next play, add to the board next turn, and if they have to tap Ancient Tomb for mana every turn, 6 power is a lot for them to have to deal with. Oh, they just pitched a Simian Spirit Guide. Okay. Suddenly, this game changed a lot very quickly. I do want this Dragon's Rage Channeler. I'm all in here, kids. Okay, so this is probably just Red Stompy with an Urza Saga's package, which is something they can do now because of the Blood Moon rules. All right, and we're in that final stage versus Red Stompy where I've fended off 2 or 3 things. There are 3 high power permanents in their graveyard, and I'm applying pressure, and do they have a 4th high power thing? Unlicensed Hearse, that's actually devastating. I mean, like, it's not high power, but it can easily keep me off Delirium and buy them a lot of time in this game. As far as cards I don't care about, I care a lot about that. If that makes any sense at all. God, they just had another Spirit Guide. Okay, Blood Moon. That means the Flooded Strand on top of my deck is a mountain. This makes Lightning Bolt very good. It also means their hand is empty. It also means they're not taking damage from Ancient Tomb anymore. All right, creatures have to fight. I don't think they'll be this big by the time they get in there. Interesting sequencing last turn. They could have played the Blood Moon first and saved 2 life off the Ancient Tomb. That does make them weaker to Daze, and Unlicensed Hearse kind of is a must counter for me. Though I was hellbent. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, they took 2 damage they didn't need to last turn, which is great for me. Let's hope it holds. They're at 6. I'm a Lightning Bolt deck. We're both hellbent. Unfortunately, they need just like literally anything here. Yeah, if they just don't attack with this, their 2/2 beats my board. Or they can attack. I mean, are they going to fling at my DRCs, or are they trying to race me? That attack's really interesting. And by interesting, I mean aggressive. All right, they spent their Lava Spur Boots to kill a DRC. Taking me off Delirium. That's not a Lightning Bolt. I don't think playing out this land does anything. All right. So we were in that spot 2 turns ago where I said, I've answered 3 things. I hope they don't have another important thing. And from 4 cards, they have played 3 important things. Really, it's Unlicensed Hearse. I actually wouldn't care about Broadside Bombardiers or any of the moons. Unlicensed Hearse was the essential thing that really got it done here. All right, they flung their Unlicensed Hearse at my Dragon's Rage Channeler. Just draw 2 Lightning Bolts in a row. That's how we do it. All right, so I take 4 down to 9. I get a draw. Then I take 4 down to 5. I get another draw. If the top 2 cards on my deck are Lightning Bolt, I guess they could fling Magus next turn, or they could fling Chromox now. Yeah, I cannot win anymore. There's no way at the top of my deck is 2 Lightning Bolts. Okay. Unlicensed Hearse, curse you. Mostly Mold of 5, curse you. Okay, so we're against Red Prison, Red Stompy. Stifle is not very good versus them. They don't fetch. They do have stuff like Broadside Bombardiers and Fable the Mirror Breaker, Pyrogoyf, Urza Saga. Like, it's not without targets, but it's not very good. Should I bring in Blood Moon? What do we think, chat? Will that stop them? All right, I like all my red cards. Ironically, I think if I had kept the Cori-Steel Cutter start, we might have been in better shape that game. Daze is risky. I want some number because obviously Daze is really good, but it does fall off quick, and they're a deck with Spirit Guides and tons of fast mana. They could just bully Daze, and even if I think I can Daze them, they could exile Spirit Guide and blow me out. It could be a Preordain that gets cut here. Or, no, I think it's just another Daze. I'm bringing in 2 additional forces. Meltdown is not without text. Null Rod is not without text. Meltdown killing Urza Saga things and Chalice of the Void. I probably should have Meltdown in. I think that'll replace one of these Preordains. Okay, here we go. Deck, please. I have a family. Mulligan. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I would play 19 lands. It's round 1. I'm already off it. Give me another land in my deck, please. Straight to 5. Jeez. All right, I guess I have to keep this one. At some point, you just, like, have to keep a hand. I'm gonna bottom Daze and Brainstorm. Daze and Brainstorm gone. I'm just gonna play Wasteland and pass. I'm gonna save my Bauble for Cori-Steel Cutter. If I draw a mana that gets things going here, that's better for me. Shatter Skull tapped. All right, come on, deck. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Play to your outs, kids. Cutter, trigger. Now we just have to beat the 6 cards in their hand. What could go wrong? A Fable on top of their deck. Attack for 2. And we'll see if I can ride this lightning to the end. Another Wasteland. If they go like Ancient Tomb Fable here, it might be worth it to force waste both their lands and just get in with a 2/2 for a while. Collapsing their mana, I think, has to be my plan because I'm not going to actually run them out of cards or beat them that way because they have 7 cards in their hand. Urza Saga. Fable, pitching a Spirit Guide. Okay, so that cost them a card. I think I am going to commit to the line I said. Ponder. All right, if Ponder hits a bobble here, we are in business. Lightning Bolt. I am interested in that card. I'm probably not interested in my 3rd Wasteland. At least not yet. I mean, I might be next turn. Wasteland, Wasteland, attack for 3. My sweet little monk, this is your job. You're the only one left. Ancient Tomb. Tapping that hurts. I like it. I can brainstorm into Wasteland guaranteed here, and if I hit a land instead, I could bolt them. All right, well, Wasteland it is. Waste you. 3/3. Get it done. Another Ancient Tomb. Keep them coming. Okay, Ponder. I'd really like to hit a red source here. That's worth so much damage. Mishra's Bauble. I'll take it. Okay, and Bauble can draw Daze. That's actually really good. Bauble's worth a ton of damage too. I think we're going to win this game. I still think the deck needs another land, but holy smokes. We are making it work with 5 cards in 1 land. They drew Blood Moon, which does not help them to cast. They are dead to the Bolt in my hand if they cast Blood Moon. If they tap Ancient Tomb for anything, they're dead to the Bolt in my hand. They would need to, like, pitch Fury. Even that I could Daze and have more stats than Fury can remove. Hey, there's that. And kids, if they want Fury to resolve, they have to take 2 damage. Sick. The Filthy Daze. Okay, so they have to take 2 or pitch a Spirit Guide just to not kill all my creatures here. There it is. They paid the 2 life. You know, Monk is going to attack them for that much anyway. You might as well pay and remove a Monk. Like, this Monk is just 2/2 anyway. Can they spend this last mana somehow? No. Okay, sweet. I've got a 1/1. I think I want to just bolt here. Or, yeah, bolting them. Oh, it's literally they're 5. Right. 1 Monk is enough. I'm over here, like, trying to think whether it makes sense to put them to 1 or not. But no, it puts them to 0. That is the correct play. Okay, Skin of Our Ass, classic tempo gaming. 1 colored mana for the entire game, but 3 Wastelands evens the odds. On the draw, does anything change? Daze is a little worse on the draw, but I've already shaved 2 of them. I think Stifle is even worse on the draw. I'm not going to bring that in. Daze, Stifle, Preordain are the only cards I'd consider here. None of these other cards. I mean, Null Rod could do something, but I don't actually like Null Rod. It depends on the matchup. If I'm a control deck, I think Null Rod is fine versus Red Stompy. It turns off their Chrome Moxes going long, treasures off of Fable, the One Ring. But if I'm a deck like this, I don't want to go long against them. So One Ring is solving a problem that I'm trying to build my deck to not be in the position where it's a problem in the first place, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think this is what I've got going on. Let's go. This is the deck I have. Can I keep 7 cards, please? Hell yeah. All right. And that is pretty good. I am kind of slow versus Chalice, but I am holding the Meltdown. I can actually even beat a Chalice eventually. I wish one of these Unholy Heats was a blue card, but otherwise this hand is pretty great. If they ram out a Blood Moon, my hand functions through that. If they ram out a Chalice, I can remove it eventually. If they ram out a creature, I can hit it with Unholy Heat. All right, draw a blue card, any blue card. Uh-oh, not really what I want. Dragon's Rage Channeler, get in there, get to work. Channeler's a lot worse versus Unlicensed Hearse, but that does get swept up in the Meltdown. Urza Saga, also meltable. Well, Urza Saga is not, but the things that it generates are. Right, second Channeler. That makes Fury worse for me, but it gives me double Surveil if I cast one of these heats. And if they're going to make constructs, it's going to cost them life. I can Unholy Heat the first construct because it'll be 2/2. All right. Blue card, challenge level impossible, but I am ready to shred through my deck with these channelers. Okay, no interaction there. They smell a rat. And good call too, because I have a rat. I am a rat. Rat's off to you. And now I have to make the decision, do I want to Unholy Heat this 2/2? Or do I want to take whatever damage it would represent and then catch it in the meltdown? And I think I want to catch it in the meltdown. It's going to hit me for like 4 or 5, but I'm at 20. Yeah, I'll just catch their whole board in my meltdown next turn. They take a bunch of damage from their Ancient Tomb to get this far. They could get Lava Spur Boots and try to attack, but that's still just a big attack that gets completely deleted next turn. Shadow Spear, that one's a little scarier. But, I mean, they get some of their life back, and then it's gone. All right, that's fine. It's going to have to be. I have no plan. One thing I could do here that's a little bit interesting is Unholy Heat for the triple Surveil, because I think if there's a blue card on top of my deck, I am crushing them. But if I was going to do that, I should have thought about it 2 turns ago. Oh, God. All right, well, we don't like this. All right, we're both going to be empty. I am going to Unholy Heat and see what happens here. I'm going to target the small construct. Yeah, that was the card I was mostly worried about. Fury. Cori-Steel Cutter. Artifact in the graveyard. Sorcery in the graveyard. There's an instant about to be in my graveyard. Here's a land. So now I have Delirium. They have to unlicense Hearse to stop Delirium. Like, they should Hearse now before Heat's in the graveyard. Okay, now I have Delirium. So what they can do is let the damage resolve and then target me with Hearse, or target my graveyard with Hearse to make these all 1/1s again. And then I will Unholy Heat again and try to replace the things they're removing. Or at least get a blue card on top of my deck. Okay, they're going after Preordain and Unholy Heat. Okay, so Unholy Heat will replace itself. I need to come up with a creature or sorcery. Sorcery. I still have Delirium. Creature. Okay, let me make sure I thought about this correctly. Sorcery, instant. Instant's going in. I just milled a sorcery. I can keep Brazen Borrower on top. And now I keep my whole board, and I melt down them, and I have Force Blue card. I think they're supposed to go after Cori-Steel Cutter there. Artifacts are so much harder to replace in the graveyard, even if we are thinking about Murktide Regent. Meltdown for 2. Delete everything they've ever done with their life. Murktide. All right, Murktide can stay on top. Actually, I don't need Murktide. That was messy. Shit, I should have thought of that. I'm about to lose 2 Surveils for no reason. But these kill them in 2 hits, and I have Force of Will. Yeah, all right. Sorry, Murktide. Because I don't need the second wave. I need these 3 channelers to finish the game. And I think they will. Boom. All right, opponent's at 7. Ancient Tomb, Force Blue card in my hand. Surveil 3 attached to every spell you play is pretty messed up. I'm going to be honest. Wow, all right. Mulligans to 5. Sloppy sequencing in the final game. And still getting away with it. The power of 1 mana, 3 power flying creatures versus Ancient Tomb. That was a sweet back and forth battle. I do want another land in this deck, though, if I'm seriously considering it. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. Once again, no lands, gonna mulligan. Okay, the one land that we can expect out of a 7-card hand is here. I'm going to keep, and I think the bottom is Stifle. Yeah, Stifle is just the worst card in this hand by a lot. If I didn't have Dragon's Rage Channeler, or if I was on the play, I might consider Stifle. But those 2 things are not true. I have ways to spend my mana. Even if I didn't have DRC, I have Ponder. But I'm playing Channeler, I'm backing it up with Daze, and then we'll see where the day takes us from there. Soporific Springs as the first land tells me they don't have another land. Or their hand is all these things. People playing this card, it's either like land number 22 in their deck or like Modern Blue Belcher. Okay, land number 22 it is. Okay, it is my turn. I'm going to ponder looking for that land drop, getting 4 peeks at it. I'll take that one. I'm not too proud. Ooh, that's big. I am going to waste them. One of the other possible explanations here for leading on Soporific Springs is they're a deck with heavy basic count, and they don't have an island. Swords to Plowshares after Brainstorming. That means Daze is on. Yeah, I'm going to Daze. And that means I don't need this anymore because I have my next land drop lined up. Oh, Force of Will. Pitching Force. Yeah, the brutality of Daze. Okay. Well, let's see if they can dig out of this, because I'm currently offering no pressure. Tamiyo. That one dies to what I have. I am just bolting this before they can flip her. Not interested. Okay, they're out of lands. That means they have 3 spells in the hand. Ponder. Let's find a threat. All right, well, it's not a threat, but it is a wasteland. I'm going to wasteland now and set up Brainstorm with fetch available next turn. Felia. All right, that dies to Unholy Heat. I'm going to let it ride. There was some sort of Azorius Blink. There is nothing to exile here. Okay, Brainstorm. I don't need 2 Force of Wills when they only have 1 land. I could go to 0 Force of Wills and just rely on Daze here. I think I want to heat Felia on their turn, just in case Force of Negation's here. I don't know. If they Ephemerate to save it, tap your own mana to do it. Yo, all right. I am going to invest this now, and then I can Brainstorm next turn, or Brainstorm into a Bauble, or Brainstorm into a Channeler. Just having this invested, I think, is worth it. You don't have to trigger it immediately. Felia is a good answer to Monks, though, deleting tokens permanently without spending actual cards. Ooh, I like that card. I am going to Brainstorm, though. Another Cutter, but I don't want to shuffle away these cards. All right, I think it's going to be Cutter, Brainstorm, go out, and then play Murktide. Island, Murktide. Full-size Murktide without losing Delirium, or without making Delirium worse. I didn't have Delirium, but I left both an instant and a sorcery in the bin. I can Daze a 2-drop. I can push through a Swords to Plowshares with my double threat. No way. That one is very good against Murktide Regent. All right, Felia is gone. Thundertrap Trainer. All right. Deck's full of sweet cards. I know this opponent. They are a member of my Patreon Discord, and they are a brewer. I know that about them. Hell yeah. Okay. Time to think. If I equip Cori-Steel Cutter to Murktide, that doesn't matter because it already has evasion, and this is the thing granting prowess. Okay, Irrel. If I play Dragon's Rage Channeler and equip Steel Cutter, I now have a 2/2 Haste Trample, which I have anyway. I don't have Delirium. If I play Channeler and then Lightning Bolt them, that will trigger the Steel Cutter. Do I bolt them or do I bolt Trainer? I think I bolt them. Okay. DRC, Lightning Bolt, target you. The Trainer being in play turns on some stuff like Flame of Enor, but when they're floundering on... Okay, they're just conceding. Was that lethal? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They could have seen another turn. But if they're floundering on mana, and I haven't even seen a third color, I'm not going to play around Flame of Enor. Okay, we're some sort of Felia otter deck. I don't know how to describe what I'm seeing. Daze was a Rockstar there, but it's because I caught them with multiple Wastelands. In the sideboard and on the draw, I'm going to go -1 of those at least. All the red removal seems really good if they're a creature deck trying to get stuff like Tamiyo going. Stifle is useful versus Tamiyo's, Thundertrap Trainers, etc. But again, it's a card I don't put a lot of faith in general. I'm going to leave 1 Stifle 2 days in and get my Pyroblast in the mix. Wow, look at all these lands. 3 lands, 2 pair, keep. Basic Island, they played around it. Well, there's only one thing to do here. Begin the channeling. I think I'm going to invest a bunch of channelers into play so that my first ponder just instantaneously gets me delirium. All right, Tamiyo's going. So they have more going on already this game than they had entirety of last game. Swords to Plowshares. I got more where that came from. And they are fetching basics, which means their mana's going to be worse. Ooh, all right. That's complicated. I would like to kill Tamiyo, but the Brainstorm is up. Minor misstep. You got me. All right, I'm going to kill Tamiyo now. I am more worried about Tamiyo flipping and starting to do stuff than I am applying pressure immediately. Archive. Finally a target for Wasteland. You can't play around it forever. Ooh, a new card. Edge of Eternities was just released. Like, I'm recording this right after the downtime patch that added Edge of Eternities to Magic Online. So this is new. When this enters or leaves, draw a card. Sacrifice this, put a stun counter on target tap creature. Okay, so this is why we're doing this deck. This is nutso with Valia. Enters or leaves is like the best Wellspring we've ever had. Okay, suddenly my plan changes. I'm going to value Channeler over Ponder here. Let's get the threats going. Unfortunately, this means I didn't Wasteland this turn, which could punish me if they go like land Wrath of the Skies. But their deck's full of 2-mana permanents. Can they even play Wrath of the Skies? Probably not. All right, Hydroblast, giving me Delirium and killing a card that already made a permanent. Another Relic. So far, these have just cantripped. They haven't done anything until they leave the battlefield. I'm not that impressed by them. Ponder. We're going to get some Prowess triggers this turn and some Surveil triggers. I'm going to dump the other Ponder. Got a handful of those already. Daze sucks. I will take Pyroblast. Ponder will bin Daze. Daze to the graveyard. Murktide Regent. Versus just shuffle this away. Murktide does hit really hard. I can't cast it this turn, though. I think I'm just going to shuffle this. Okay, this can be my Surveil land, or it can cast Pyroblast. Either way, I'm pretty content with it. Attack for 6. Wasteland the duel. All right, opponent's at 10. There's one Volcanic Island left in my deck to fetch. Thunder Trap Trainer. I am going to counter this. Why give them 2 cards when I could only give them 1? Lightning Bolt, hell yeah. That kills Felia. It also kills them if they don't have Felia. And Felia is the card I'm worried about right now. Okay, they have now sacked this to stun my Dragon's Rage Channeler and draw a card. That's cool. That is actually an impressive interaction. I'm going to attack with my Monk. Keep the pressure going. I'm going to keep this Volcanic Island back in case I draw a Brainstorm. Show off. Got your own Brainstorm over there. Whatever. Yeah, it's cool that it's a Wellspring that can also sack itself. It needs a target, though. It only stuns a tapped creature, so your opponent has to both have a creature and be pressuring you before you can do this. I guess you could stun your own tapped creature if you really want to. Another Relic. Relic Storm is 3. They can stun DRC again while we're in here. All right. Some spells? I like that spell. Attack with the Monk. I could Pyroblast this Cryogen Relic, and then it can't stun my Channeler, but then they get to draw a card for free. And although I think I was playing too cautiously last time I played this deck, I think that's playing too aggressively. Thunder Trap Trainer. All right, I will Pyroblast this. Surveil. Show me something good. I love Lightning Bolt. Okay, that is actually a lethal Lightning Bolt. They don't know it, though. Cracking their Clue before cracking their Relic is interesting. That probably means that they were digging to some sort of removal or sweeper, because cracking the Relic's the same as cracking the Clue, except you also draw a card. Okay. Does this win through Force of Will also? No. Not quite. Brainstorm on top. That card's great. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If they Force of Will here, they go to 1, but they are still alive. Brainstorm on top. Or they could just die. Ah, Solitude. Sick. All right. They got tricks. I wonder if they would have pitched Solitude there if I had brainstormed after combat. Yeah, if I had known that Solitude was a card in their deck, it's actually better to put them to 3 in combat than bolt them finally. Interesting. All right. Got me good. Cycling Lorien revealed. Getting Tundra. Thunder Trap Trainer. One of those finally resolved. Swords to Plowshares. Well, they're stable. There's 1 Lightning Bolt left in my deck. Okay, I think that missequence around the potential for Solitude might actually cost me this game. Brainstorm, big hits. Those are not big hits. And there's no shuffle there, but I do just immediately redraw all these cards. Bobble, bobble. Bobble ya. Felia, my nightmare. I know what I'm drawing, and I know it doesn't help, so I'm going to wait and just see another card from them. Brainstorm. All right, those cards have now moved around. Oh, God. Abuelo, Ancestral Echo. Let's go. Flying, Ward 2, 2/2. Exile another target creature artifact you control. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next M step. All right. Abuelo's busted. Now removal doesn't work on their creatures. Bobble you. Another Brainstorm there. Assume Feli is in the hand. I'm drawing Volcanic Island, then one mystery card that I really hope is Lightning Bolt. Ugh. All right. Didn't play around Solitude, and now I'm going to lose. Okay, there's Felia. It's in. They're drawing a Brainstorm. They can do a lot of flickering. This Thundertrap Trainer can go completely bananas. I can represent Force of Will next turn. It just doesn't matter. Right, I'm going to let the Thundertrap Trainer come back in. The only card they could show me that not fetching first would punish me for is Stifle, and I don't think they play that card. Balls. Preordain. I'll take it. Anything to get this party going. Preordain. Cori-Steel Cutter. Interesting. Bottom Wasteland. I am actually going to top the Cutter. That's the type of thing that could find purchase here. They can also plow their own creature now. Ooh. If they activate Abuelo on Thundertrap Trainer, it doesn't come back till their end step. They could have exiled Trainer in my main phase. And even if I have Lightning Bolt, they could exile it again. Okay. Yeah, I think they've missed out on a couple of cards worth of value here at pretty low risk, but they're also pretty stable if they don't make a mistake, so I respect it. Okay, Brainstorm when the only card in your hand is Swords to Plowshares. That's one of the best cards in the deck. Tamiyo. The Otter comes back. Now they have a flying blocker, which is tough, because now drawing, like, Dragon's Rage Channeler doesn't give me a haste lethal. Oh, Abuelo flies too. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Okay. Swords to Plowshares re-revealed. Abuelo exiles another target creature. Alright, Cori-Steel Cutter. And hit Abuelo. He has Ward 2. Oh, this isn't even good. Felia can just delete this. Flickered out the Otter. I guess I don't attack. Because Tamiyo just obviously blocks. Hydroblast. Alright. I cannot possibly win this game. Now that I know Solitude is a card I have to play around, that both increases my interest in Stifle and would change how I sequence that last turn. Stifle might be back in. I do wish one of these hates was a Chain Lightning. I think I would play +1 land and +1 Chain Lightning if I were tuning this deck myself. And I don't think that's just results oriented based on an opponent stabilizing it too. I think I actually like the reach. Force of Will's pretty clutch. Their mana's really good if I don't catch them with Wastelands, which might make days even worse. Okay, let's try it. Keep. I've got a turn 2 Cutter. Balls. Brainstorm, love it. Pass. Okay, we know Hydroblast is in the deck. Let's hope it doesn't work here. We're in. We've got a trigger at least. And attack. I'm gonna Diamond Hands this Bauble. If they fetch, I'll pop it. If they don't fetch, I'll just hold it. Okay. They have held, and I've held too. Cryogen Relic. The clutch play from last game. Stunning my Dragon's Rage Channeler 3 times until they found answer to it. Belly on top of the deck. I should have bobbled in response to the Cryogen trigger. Lightning Bolt. Okay, Brainstorm. There's plenty of bad cards in my hand I can get rid of here. I like these. I think I'm going to get rid of one of the lands, and I'm about to cast one of these cantrips. Which one is it? It's probably Ponder that I cast. Alright, land Preordain. Ponder. Ponder can shuffle away these cards I know I don't want. Ooh, there's the Stifle. Cool. Alright, I am going to bank the Stifle. No shuffle, play Scalding Tarn, attack for 5. Now I have Stifle or Pyroblast available, plus Force of Will. I never rule out a blue-white deck with good mana, but I would be impressed if they get out of this. Okay. This is Pyroblast material every time. Minor misstep, let's go. Alright, that's fine. You can have your stupid Otter. Anytime I get a card countered by a minor misstep, I'm okay with it. Just hell yeah. Loves that card is seeing play. Wasteland's pretty good. I'm going to brainstorm and try to push here. Okay, I like Wasteland. I like Ponder. I like Stifle. If I'm casting Ponder, then I don't need this blue to Delta. And Wasteland can back off as well because I'm about to Ponder into it. Ponder. We trigger. We waste. 2 Deltas and a Wasteland. No shuffle. Are they dead? If I bolt the Otter, it's 11. They'll probably block with the Otter this turn, and then I get to hold up additional interaction, including Stifle, which I now know their deck plays Solitude. Look at that. Look at that. This is also a bunch of extra damage. Evoke. This is the one I want to counter. Yeah, this is a bunch of extra prowess damage as well. And by a bunch, I mean 2. But I'll take it. Clutch Stifle out of the sideboard. They've got 5 cards in hand. We know Felia and Lorien Revealed are 2 of them. If they crack this, they're at 4. All right, Relic triggering on what is currently the largest monk, but it won't be on my turn. Fetch to 4. Hydroblast. Lightning Bolt Force blue card is lethal. I don't need that anymore. We don't need that where we're going. Bolt ya. We got the GGs. All right, so we got by Brewer's Advantage in game 2, but otherwise mostly just pummeled the shit out of a deck that's trying to get something cool going when we're just trying to inflict 20 damage very quickly. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
On the play in round 3, variance leveling out here. I will keep my hand with lands in it, and I'm going to bauble them, because then I know what to ponder for. The bauble fetch land business only works if you're not going to fetch anyway, which I am. And if I see Noble Hierarch on top of their deck, I might just leave Lightning Bolt up. Brainstorm is what's revealed. All right, I'll cast Ponder. I don't have a lot of info here. I know that their deck has Brainstorm in it. I'm not going to play around Wasteland because I'm good on lands. If they want to waste me on the draw, deal. Dazed DRC Murktide. I like these cards. I don't like the Murktide. I have too many of those. I guess I'm drawing it anyway because of the bauble. We're getting them all, like it or not. Here they come. Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb Brainstorm. Who does this? Is this just show and tell? Misty Rainforest, Dragon's Rage Channeler. And I guess I'm just passing here and hoping I'm not dead. If I don't die this turn, this is probably an end step bolt just to push. It's an extra spell for Murktide, and it's an extra look with DRC. Yeah, this gotta be show and tell, or some brew. If I get Kozilek's commanded here, and this is some Eldrazi deck with Brainstorm in it, I don't know what to believe anymore. Okay, end step bolt. I'd like to find a Force of Will. Cori-Steel Cutter gives me Delirium. That's not what this game's about. Brazen Borrower is interesting. There are things that Show and Tell might do that Brazen Borrower lines up against. Like if they put in Omniscience, I can bounce it, or Atraxa, I could bounce it in response to its trigger. Yeah, I think I'm just going to hold back this Brazen Borrower. If Show and Tell resolves, I can put in Murktide and then try to bounce whatever they put in. If nothing else happens, I can Surveil. Oh, interesting. Nothing happened, not even a land. I'll get Thundering Falls. They're about to go to cleanup, which may or may not be intentional. How would this deck also be Reanimator? That doesn't even make sense. I want Force of Will, I want Wasteland. I want to get them dead quickly. Alright, sick. I'll take Wasteland. Put it in the bank. Take out that City of Traders. This makes Daze better. It makes Ancient Tomb worse. Sneak and Show confirmed. Wasteland, your City of Traders. Attack. And that's one of those format knowledge things. I saw Brainstorm off of a bauble on turn 1, and they played Ancient Tomb, and I knew they were show and tell, even though it's turn 4 and they haven't actually done anything yet. Murktide versus Brazen Borrower Daze stuff. Murktide arrives as 5/5, and I lose Delirium. Then I'm attacking for 6. I think I still like Brazen Borrower here. I might just drop it in as a beater. It has the same effect on the clock here. Brazen Borrower as a beater. Force of Will pitching Brainstorm. Yeah, they could just pay for Daze. And I want the Daze for the show and tell. Unholy Heat sucks. I'm going to attack for 3, then I'll make the Murktide. Now I got nothing else going on. I could make 3/3 Murktide and keep Delirium. Do I have enough cards for that? Because the second Murktide buffs the first one. Has to fight. And now they're at 7. So attacking for 6 is as good as lethal. Murktide. And I do have more instants, so I'm going to exile Lightning Bolt. I've managed to do this in a way that specifically does not kill them. But it does make Ancient Tomb untappable. I can also Unholy Heat my own Murktide, deal 2 damage to it, and regain Delirium. That's why I ate the instant, because I can replace that. And if I end up dazing something, I get Delirium back. A Force of Will pitching Brainstorm. I could daze this. They tap Ancient Tomb down to 4. I get Delirium back, and I get another Surveil. But then if they rip the island, it's bad for me. Okay, I think I'm going to let that go. I just don't want to lose to island off the top. Mysterized Village, that's almost an island. Channeler. Attack. Channeler. Murktide. Alright, Lethal's on board with only Daze to protect it. Go. Please don't kill me from here. Show and tell. Daze picking up Thundering Falls. Daze to the graveyard. Bobble to the graveyard. Nothing matters here. Like, if they force back, I hope they have to pitch Omniscience or Atraxa. 3 Force of Wills this game. Okay. Pitching Atraxa. So I guess what's coming? What's left in the show and tell? Am I dead anyway? Omniscience with 1 card remaining. Force of Will on top of my deck. Doesn't matter. I'm F6 from here. Emrakul. I have exactly 6 permanents. Kill me now! Oh my god. All right. Well, there we go. I tried to avoid that happening, but happen it did. Okay, the triple Force of Will plus multiple redundant show and tell payoff. I don't lose to Emrakul there. I do lose to Atraxa there. I only lose to Omni plus Emrakul there. Tough. Okay. Pyroblast Force of Negation comes in. I don't really like Surgical Extraction against show and tell unless I have discard spells, which I don't in this deck. Unholy Heat was one of the bricks that may have cost me that game. Lightning Bolt is still fine. Stifle does a little bit. Like, stifling the Emrakul trigger or an Atraxa trigger could win the game. Catching a fetch land. Stifling a Mysterized Village activation, so my counterspells still work. I still think this card's kind of bad. Daze is good. I can play fewer of them, though, because I have better answers now. We saw Sneak Attack as well, so this is Sneak and Show, where Hydroblast might be necessary to think about. Alright, that's Daze, that's Stifle. I mean, stifling a Sneak Attack could be useful, but I think won't be. Tamiyo doesn't do much in this matchup. I need to deal damage and stop them from going off. Alright, here's my plan. I will keep. This hand brings aggression that I like. My opponent's on 6. Sometimes this deck has Blood Moon in it, or it usually does, but it would be weird to bring that in versus Delver, so I'm not going to play around it. I also can't with the hand I'm playing, which is useful. Just one less thing to think about. Scalding Tarn from the opponent. I am going to cast Preordain. This is 4 looks in a straight line at my next land, which is what I want to be doing. Bobble to the graveyard. Bobble, Daze to the bottom. I did find a land, not the one I was looking for. But it's something. We know their deck wants mana, and I'm a deck with Daze. Casting Brainstorm next turn or Daze on their turn would both give me Delirium. Ancient Tomb. Alright, can they bully a Daze here? Carpet of Flowers bullies the shit out of everything. Alright, well, Carpet resolves. I'm going to waste this Ancient Tomb in combat, so they can't just fire a show and tell second main. 3-color Omni Show is tough. Pyroblast, pretty critical actually. I think I'm going to preordain again, take the risk. I can't just attack for 1 and hope that they don't do anything for the entire game. Brazen Borrower to the graveyard, that's Delirium, which I was going to get anyway. Lightning Bolt to the bottom. I will top Force of Will, which is not what I wanted, but it is a card that's useful. Carpet of Flowers, doing its thing. Ponder. Volcanic Island. Now something like a Braid could be relevant. Unfortunately, playing out the second Channeler makes my days worse. Or playing out the Volk makes days worse, but makes Pyroblast better. I think that's worth it. They do have 4 and 5 mana plays in the deck, like Resolving Sneak Attack or Show and Tell with a counterspell backup, a Flusterstorm or a Pyroblast. Playing and then activating Sneak Attack is a lot. Brotherhood's End is not a card that I want to play against. I guess I'm going to force this pitching Brainstorm. Ponder, Graveyard. I might just have to take my swings here. Just fight over this and then bolt them a bunch of times. How many lightning bolts did I take out? I hope the answer is 0, but it might be 1. It is 0. Good. Good job, me. Cori-Steel Cutter. I'm not casting that this game. Veil of Summer. Daze. Veil of Summer. Not Brotherhood's End, because I don't want them drawing a card off Veil. Cori-Steel Cutter to the graveyard. Wasteland to the graveyard. That's not what we're doing here. Though the Wasteland was actually a little interesting. If I waste my own land, that might screw them off mana. Channeler to the graveyard. Volcanic Island to the graveyard. Can I draw a lightning bolt? Ponder. Ponder, find a lightning bolt. I guess wasting their land's the same as wasting my land, and what I said a second ago doesn't make any sense at all. Cori-Steel Cutter to the graveyard. Lightning bolt on top. Do not shuffle. Attack. And lightning bolt. Bin all of these cards I don't want. I guess I'll keep Brainstorm. Hell yeah. That's what happens when you look at, like, how many was that? Can we actually figure this out? I cast Force of Will, Daze, Lightning Bolt, Ponder. Each one saw 2 additional cards, plus Ponder seeing the 4 cards Ponder gets to see, plus my draw step. Yeah, we looked at like 20 cards in half of a turn cycle there, and that is what this deck is about. All right, we both took turns cheesing each other out. Now that I know that Carpet of Flowers is a card in their deck, that makes Daze a little worse. It's not a card I could do a lot about, other than fight over it on the way down, or not rely on Daze to win counter wars. But we've now seen Carpet of Flowers, Mistrise Village, and Veil of Summer. They are determined to win these fights, and I have to not let them. All right, here we go. I don't think anything changes here. I do have my Hydroblast in already for cards like Brotherhood's End. This hand looks really good, except it doesn't apply any pressure, but I am going to keep it. If they go for an aggressive send, that's something I can fend off pretty well here. Ponder. I think with both Hydro and Pyroblast in my hand, I would force pitching Daze on Carpet if they had that right now. Or is it the opposite, where I just recognize that force pitching Daze, Pyroblast, Hydroblast, none of them care about the amount of mana my opponent has, and I would just relegate Daze to Force of Will duty? I think that makes more sense than what I said the first time. I'll get my Surveil hand here. I don't think this 3-color deck with Carpet of Flowers in it is going to bring in Blood Moon against me. I'm going to bin Volk. I'm good. I have 2 lands. That'll last for a little while. Brazen Borrower. Someday that'll be a threat. Mistrise Village. Life is pain. Alright, we'll go to my turn. Cori-Steel Cutter. That's not very helpful here. Nothing really is. I guess I'll just bolt their face, which does tap me out of either a Pyro or a Hydro, but I think I like that more than going to discard. I might get completely soloed by Mistrise Village here. End step Brainstorm, go ahead. They do need an Ancient Tomb or +1 mana somehow, Lotus Petal, Spirit Guide, something like that, to use Mistrise Village next turn. I don't even have a way to see more cards. Just finding Wasteland here would make me very comfortable in the game. Okay, they probably have what they need here. Though I think you'd save the Mistrise Village for last, if that's what you were doing. Alright, well, next spell can't be countered. There we go. Alright. Yep. Show and Tell happens. Can't stop that. I'm going to put in Cori-Steel Cutter. Opponent has Emrakul. I have no outs whatsoever to that. And we're dead. Cool. All right. Yeah. Mistrized Village. This card was one of the heaters when Tarkir Dragonstorm came out, and we specifically identified on the Eternal Glory podcast that Show and Tell would be a deck that is most well suited to just adopt this. And look at that. They just beat me with an Emrakul when my hand was 5 counterspells. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables. On the play for round 4. First appearance of Tamiyo. Let's do it. I could set up an aggressive turn 2 Tamiyo flip if I bobble on their turn, and then just commit my mana to cracking the clue when she attacks. Or I could bobble myself now and decide if I want to lead on Scalding Tarn or Volcanic Island for card selection. I think that's better. I'm going to look at the top card of my own deck here. Preordain. I think that one's good enough to keep. Tamiyo, in you go. Windswept Heath. Are we going to see a Hierarch of some variety here? Oh, Plains. That's so much worse. Okay. A deck dedicated enough to white mana that it's playing Windswept Heath is pretty spooky. I'm going to Thundering Falls first, because Preordain does see all the cards in order. 3 Lightning Bolts feels like too many. I need a creature applying pressure before I want to overload my opponent with Lightning Bolts. I'll keep the Ponder and bottom Volcanic Island here. I'm 3/4 of the way to Delirium. I just need to fetch or waste, both of which are in my hand. Are we going to get beanstalked here? That would not be great. Delighted Halfling. Okay, so this is probably some Nadu deck. It's a Nadu deck with a lot of basic lands, though. Kudos for that. I'm going to bolt the Halfling before I cast Ponder, because if we end up fighting over this, I'm going to need this Ponder as a blue card. Ponder, Daze Heat Borrower. I'll bank the Daze. If this is Nadu, that's something I don't want happening to me. Borrower's on top of the deck. I will leave it there, unless I have to fetch for Lightning Bolt or something. We're seeing the difference between having a turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler and not. Like, instead of my opponent going tit for tat with me and their life total dropping every turn, they're going tit for tat for me, and my hand is just getting smaller. Windswept Teeth. How many basics you got over there? Zenith for 1. I can probably bolt whatever this is. Sylvan Safekeeper. Literally legal to Lightning Bolt, though could get awkward. Alright, I am just going to bolt this now. It's going to cost you a land if you want access to this. And I'm bolting before I show the Wasteland. Okay, they just they're fetching the Windswept Teeth. Right, there's Lush Portico. The intent is probably to sack that. Okay, that's fine. It does just make days better. I'll play out the Wasteland. My top card is Unholy Heat, which I still like here. Tundra. Nadu. I believe I'd like to Wasteland this Tundra before anything else happens. Like, if they're a Daze deck, I don't want to get in a Daze fight. They can just sack it to make Safekeeper untargetable, but that also makes Nadu worse if it resolves. All right, that's fine. And do I want Thundering Falls? I think I do. I'm going to float a blue and then Daze with Thundering Falls. Cool. We've chewed up 2 of their lands, and for their hard work, they get a 1/1. I'd be surprised if they can afford to keep this anymore. Unholy Heat this thing. Yep, they don't want it. Thundering Falls, I don't need a Mystery Forest, pass. 4 cards in their hand, 2 lands in play, force blue card in mind. They're still under 0 pressure if they just present another Nadu here. That's the thing about Nadu players, they always have 2 in their hand. Yep, never fails. Force that. And now it's time, deck, to draw Murktide Regent. Days, alright. Do they have a third Nadu? If they do, please don't have a land. Or land Zenith for 3. The third Nadu? You fucking hilarious goofball, you. I can rip like a god too, though. Days off the top. Yeah, Nadu players. It's like they get to play 7 of them. Another Misty Rainforest. Rainstorm. Oh my goodness. A real card. This is where they cast the 4th Nadu. Nomad's Encore. That one is fun to just be sitting in play. That's very easy to kill if it's not comboing off. A Brainstorm with a bad card to get rid of. Deck, please. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put back Misty and Brainstorm because I want to Wasteland them first. And then I'll play DRC, and then I'll draw Brainstorm next turn. Scrib Ranger, hell yeah. Okay, that can't pick up that one. That's lucky. That can only pick up Forests. If that was Tropical Island, I would have just gotten completely smoked. Okay, 3/3, PAL. 1 card left in their hand. 1 Nadu left in their deck. My channeler has to fight, but I am winning the damage race. I'm not going to aggressively Brainstorm here. I'm probably going to fetch in their end step to clear that land that's on top of my deck, then see what happens. If I hit a Murktide, it's really good. If I hit a Cori-Steel Cutter, it's not very good. I think if I had Delvers in my deck, Delvers and Murktides, more traditional threats instead of Cori-Steel Cutter, I would fetch now and Brainstorm. Or Brainstorm and then fetch, but, you know, cast Brainstorm now. But I think with Steel Cutter in the mix, you really just want 2 cards in your hand most of the time. And Murktide's not even that high impact here because they have Scrib Ranger. Zenith for 2. Alright, this could be like Curator, Keen-Eyed Curator, which starts beating up my Delirium. It could be a lot of things. Yeah, Keen-Eyed Curator it is. It's going to be an important turn to answer that thing. Right, Scribby's attacking. They could pick up Hedge Maze and Surveil, just Machine Gun Surveil here. Or they could pick up Snow-Covered Forest and have Keen-Eyed Curator available. Right, they're going with Forest. There are 4 card types in my graveyard. Is this alone? It is. They can actually take me off Delirium here and eat my Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, they're doing it pre-combat. If they wait till combat, I have to attack, and then they can eat it with their 3/3. I'm glad that didn't happen. All right, big turn to find a Lightning Bolt. Brainstorm. Fresh Delirium. Lightning Bolt. Ugh. These are not what I wanted. I'm about to be behind to a 7/7 and never have Delirium again. I think I'm going to put away Channeler Daze. Take the Shuffle off Polluted Delta. Yeah, I really needed a removal spell right now, or this Curator is going to curate me. And they're at 9. 3 Lightning Bolts already gone. I surveilled 1 away early when I thought they were a control deck, and I think if I had just saved that, then I'd be pretty far ahead right now. Obviously, you can't know what you can't know. They can take me off Delirium and bash me for 9 right now. And then Brazen Borrower is the only answer I have left to a Curator. The one of. Okay, they took me off Delirium. And they attacked before using Scrib Ranger. That means I'm not taking 7 this turn. That's lucky. That's the thing I didn't want to happen. Yeah, untapping Curator, replaying Forest. I've got a fetch here. I know there's a bad one on top of the deck. Come on, deck. Big hits, big hits. Alright, I can't win anymore. GG. Okay, we're at like a mid-range Zenith Maverick build of Nadu. They have Mana Dorks and a bunch of basics. I don't think I'm trying to Blood Moon them. Submerge is huge. I love Submerge. This is one of my favorite cards to cast in all of Magic. And we're in a matchup where it lines up. Pyroblast can kill Nadu and help with some stuff, but it doesn't help versus Zenith and those type of things. I think on the play, I'm going to try to lean on Stifle and Daze pretty hard here, harder than I normally would. But I need all my removal. That basically leaves like Preordain and Tamiyo as cards I could cut. I could shave 1 Bauble, I guess. That makes Steel Cutter a lot worse, and Dragon's Rage Channeler. Right, I'm going to try this, just very subtle changes. I don't have a Cursed Totem or anything really devastating to bring in here. The classic no lander, or not a real lander. Daze doesn't work with this. This matchup, like we saw last round, is not really about force checking. I get 2 looks with this bauble at a land. I think I'm just going to mulligan this. Okay, cool. We're in. We found one. And this is a deck that can play Carpet of Flowers as well. I'm going to put Volcanic Island to the bottom. Fetching for it gets me 1 closer to Delirium. And this is what I'm going to do anyway. Opponent's on 7. Caracas. Alright, well, at least they played something I can waste. Which I will do as we work our way up to this Cori-Steel Cutter. I don't want to Force of Will this. I'm going to Brainstorm looking for Daze or Lightning Bolt. Oh, Submerge! Even better! Get cooked, nerd! Okay, I found everything I could ever want in life. I think here, I actually want to get rid of the Force of Will now. So put back Force of Will and Submerge. The Delighted Halfling resolves. I'm going to play Cori-Steel Cutter. And then surprise, I have a second spell. You're not going to like it, though. Put Delighted Halfling on top of your deck. Awesome. We know what they're drawing next turn. I'm going to hold the Bauble to guarantee extra damage next turn. Because if they just draw and replay this Halfling, Bauble you, Bolt your Halfling is an insane turn. A Ponder. And now, unlike last game, which I pointed out, we were not applying pressure basically at any point. They had plenty of time to figure it out. This Cori-Steel Cutter is doing the work. Wow. Speaking of doing the work. Bauble. Bauble you. There's an Endurance over there. I don't like seeing that. But I like even less them having Delighted Halfling. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a mana short of doing everything I'd like to do this turn. But I think clipping their development is what I want to do. Like, now they need to play an actual forest and then main phase the Endurance, or at least, like, do it before. Oh, now it doesn't matter. Scoreboard. I hope the Endurance in my upkeep now. That'll trigger Cori-Steel Cutter. Yeah, please wait till my upkeep. Please wait till my upkeep. Oh my god, they passed the turn. Float a red to mess with you. And daze this Endurance. That is 1 spell and 2 prowess triggers. Okay. Then we move forward. And I'll play my second spell. It's this one. That was awesome. There was nothing that could be done. And I would have still dazed the Endurance, but my Cutter wouldn't have triggered. And they could still just go land Nadu Nomad here and grind out of this. I hope that doesn't happen, but it's possible. Scrub Ranger, that's really good against Murktide Regent. Oh, I can give Murktide Trample. That's not even true. All right, yeah. Scrub Ranger's normally really good against Murktide Regent. Protection for blue. Nomad. That taps them out of white. Now I don't have to think about Swords to Plowshares. Okay, time to assess my options here. I could just equip Cori-Steel Cutter and a Murktide. That's an 8/8 trample. Yeah, that is just lethal. So I'm not going to get cute here. I'm going to attack with my 3 creatures. My 4 creatures. It would need something like Solitude here to get out of this. A block. A trample. Cool, they're dead. Sweet. That's what games we win look like, where we actually have something going on while we bolt their stuff. Submerge, found a target. This is the first time I've gotten to play this card in a very long time, and it immediately did what it's supposed to do. On the draw, Stifle's a bit worse. Grafdigger's Cage could be in. They are a Zenith package. Maybe that's something I should have been thinking about. If I bring in 2 cages over 2 Stifles, yeah, I think I'm into this. I'm still gonna try to rely on Daze because their mana and plays in general are pretty clunky, even though I'm on the draw and they have mana dorks. This hand is very bad versus Delighted Halfling and pretty good versus most other things. I'm in. Windswept Heath. That's not a Delighted Halfling. Famously different card than Delighted Halfling, Windswept Heath. I'm going to save Bauble for Cutter. The Portico. So they either can't afford to fetch around Wasteland or don't care about it with their hand. Kept the card on top, have a Windswept Heath. I think I'd have to daze something like Keen-Eye Curator. Scythecat Cub. Fascinating. Oh, I'm not ready for that, so let's just not do it. This will further delay. All right, well, Lightning Bolt's on top. This will further delay Cori-Steel Cutter, but what's the rush? All right, Lightning Bolt in my hand. I'm going to attack for 1. I could Pyroblast Nadu specifically, and basically no other cards in their deck. I don't think we've seen a blue card other than Nadu. Delighted Halfling, hate that guy. But now I'm ready for it. It took 3 turns, but we did get there. Brainstorm. I mean, obviously this card's really good. All right, I think I will keep it. Okay, do I apply pressure here? I think I do. Cutter. If they just Hydroblast this or whatever, that's a thing out of their hand. They could Plow Channeler before it gets too many triggers. Scrib Ranger, sure. Daze, I actually do want, weirdly enough. They have to sequence correctly with the Scrib. Let's see the top of their deck. It's Endurance, yikes. All right, well, I'm going to offer a trade with Scrib Rangers because I'm scared of that card, and they make my days worse. Because they could float mana, pick up a forest, replay the forest, and then all their 3-drops work. But I am still banking the days. This takes care of Zenith for 3. Endurance good against Dragon's Rage Channeler and Murktide Regent. Not so good against Cori-Steel Cutter. Okay, they've got a Scythecat Cub. They could pile onto Ranger. Yeah, that's pretty good. Hedge Maze. All right, now this daze looks actively bad. Dump to Dryad Arbor. Scrib Ranger's 3/3. That's huge. Still smaller than Lightning Bolt, but not a card I currently am looking at. But I did keep his Brainstorm around last turn. Unholy Heat. We're so close. Okay, Brainstorm. Ponder does not give me Delirium, but it gets me closer. I'll put that in. If I find a fetch land here, I have Delirium. Nice. Okay. Days just got a lot worse. Grafdigger's Cage got really good. If they have a green card, they could pitch it and take me off Delirium to protect Scrib Ranger if I fetch. I'm pretty sure I don't want Days anymore. And I can't actually waste any of their lands, so that's an easy solution. Fetch. This gives me Delirium. Grafdigger's Cage triggers the Cori-Steel Cutter. And I can probably Force of Will. I do want that card. I wish I had it now, but I'll take it later. If I attack with everything right now, this is a great attack because if they block my 2/2 with Scrib Ranger, then I don't actually care. They take me off Delirium. All right, how do I use this Unholy Heat the best? They're at 4. They're at 4. That's so little. I could have had them at 2 and forced the green card. Yeah, I think I should have Unholy Heated before damage. I could... Yeah, Force of Will's on top of my deck, which I don't actually really want anymore, which I don't have to commit to. All right, I'm going to pass. When they cast Endurance, I'll have a window to Unholy Heat, and just passing like this leaves Pyroblast up if they rip Nadu, which is a way this can snowball out for me. Hopefully their hand is just 2 Green Sun Zeniths plus the Endurance. I'm at 19, worried about very little here, life total wise. I'm worried about them stopping my assault and pushing back. Attacking with both creatures when they're at 4, and they can untap them both in the turn cycle, it would cost them a land overall. Okay, they picked up a land, untap Scribby. Scrib going up to 4/4 doesn't change my play here. Yep, Scrib's a 4/4. Here's Endurance. That resolves. They're targeting me. I'm going to heat Scrib Ranger in response. Put 6 damage on that thing. And I actually don't want this Force of Will anymore. I want something that will give me velocity. Yeah, I want to trigger Cori-Steel Cutter, like a Ponder, a Brainstorm, a Preordain. Anything like that is what I want to draw here. Carpet of Flower is pretty nasty. But its second main, Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's 2 spells. All right, Channeler. And I can do just the... I'm going to Pyroblast your Carpet of Flowers. This is a million triggers. They're at 4. Nice. All right. Probably should have been more aggressive with that Unholy Heat last turn, but if their hand was Carpet Endurance, they could have blown me out. That's one to think about. But they would have been at 2 instead of 4 going into this turn, but they would have still had Scrib Ranger, which represents 2 blockers because they can untap Cub and they have this thing. All right, sweet. Feel like we got away with a matchup that's probably tough there. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record block, bread and butter foreman on the line. We're against Mafoosh Van Gogh, who is the foremost dredge expert in the world. actually just won the Legacy Challenge this past weekend at the time of recording with Dredge, which is a incredible feat due to the entire format being on Graveyard Hate. Most decks played in the main, and still being just like, now I'm going to play Dredge and I'm going to win with it. Awesome stuff. My main deck's pretty bad against Dredge. I basically just have to get lucky. This Ponder is in the awkward position where I need my second land for my hand to do anything, but also I would really like to Force of Will on turn 1. Oh, yuck. Well, I might not get either. I do have this option available to me, though, where I go top, 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 no shuffle, bobble, bobble. I might just have to triple bobble, which makes Cori-Steel Cutter worse, but I'd really like to hit this land drop. Storm is 4. Bobble you. Otherworldly Gaze. Bobble you again. Otherworldly Gaze. And sure, I'll bobble you again. Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, I'm drawing Force of Will, Brainstorm, and 1 mystery card, then I untap and get another mystery card. Okay, the land was the last card down, so I didn't need the last bobble to move forward, but obviously I have no way to know that at the time when it matters. Generally, the way that I want to play around Dredge is counter literally anything that I can. Just the first thing that goes on the stack, try to stop it. If there's no Graveyard Hate coming to save you, that's kind of how you have to approach the matchup. This is a lot of lightning bolts. Okay, now it's a lot of Cori-Steel Cutters. I think this is more of these than I need, and more of these than I need. And I will pass with another Force of Will. We know they have Otherworldly Gaze. Let's see if it happens in the upkeep. It does. I will use Daze where Daze is useful. Have we sufficiently slowed my opponent down? Okay, they don't have a land to flashback Gaze, and they don't have a Dredger yet. I have to turn the corner and start applying pressure. All right, I'll put Ponder on top, and that's another Force Blue card. I play Steel Cutter this turn. I can't trigger it, but we got to start dealing damage now that I have stopped the early development. I would much rather not cast on Force, and opponent didn't have anything. That's awesome. Okay, Ponder. Another Cutter, Dragon's Rage Channeler, or bank a blue card. I don't think it's the other Cutter. Okay, I'm going to bank Preordain in my hand. I'm going to bolt my opponent. Now I'm actually dealing damage. My top card is Dragon's Rage Channeler, which I don't hate. And in concert with this Preordain, it is 2 spells next turn. Going to discard. This is the Dredger's Delight. Yeah, Golgari Grave Troll suddenly in the graveyard, despite my best efforts against. Alright, Dragon's Rage Channeler. Preordain. Or I should fetch first. Yeah, I'm going to fetch first. Preordain. Lots of triggers. I'd like a blue card to go with Force. That counts. Put that on top. Preordain. Wasteland, not helpful. Murktide Regent, good enough. And I will attack for 4. Have we done enough to beat this Golgari Grave Troll? The slow Dredge hit a Narcomoeba. There is an Anger in the graveyard. Poxwalkers doesn't trigger off Narcomoeba. They have to cast a spell. Narco's a pretty good blocker. If I draw a land here, Murktide's lethal. Okay, well, we'll start with Brainstorm, see where this goes. Misty to the graveyard. My chance to hit a land here and win has passed. Okay, double Force with a blue card. I have to put 2 of these back, unfortunately, because that's how that works. I could attack with Tamiyo this turn. I'm not going to do that, though. I'm going to put back... I can't have double Force, double blue card. What can I do to make sure I win next turn? I do have to cast another spell this turn. I don't think I can make sure I win next turn. Or I guess I just cast Murktide Regent right now and have Force blue card back. That's how I do that. Okay, put these 2 back. Cast Murktide. I've got a lot of instants in here and enough sorceries to go around. All right. Murktide without losing Delirium. Big attack. Opponent valuing Narcomoeba over being at a life total other than 1. That's scary. But Dredge can be a combo deck. All right, didn't hit anything important here. Breakthrough. Nope, this is what we've been sitting on. I would definitely lose if that breakthrough resolved. All right, sweet. Stole game 1 with some aggressive countering of literally anything. Now we bring a Grafdigger's Cage. Pyroblast. This is Blue Dredge. We saw Careful Study, Otherworldly Gaze, and Breakthrough as enablers. Big deal there. Surgical Extraction. Probably want Force of Negation. Those early counter spells, just keeping anything from going in the graveyard, is what bought me time to win the game. Okay, Unholy Heat, not important. Stifle does have a lot of text versus Dredge. Tamiyo is not good. I think I'm going to shave a Bauble, even though it does do a lot of important things. Cori-Steel Cutter might be a little slow. Lightning Bolt matters, but not like a lot. Lightning Bolt always matters when you're a burn deck. Daze on the Draw might be not as good as I need it to be. Okay, this might be going over. I might not need the Force of Negations, but I think this makes sense to me. Just want to make sure I don't die. This is a deck where you have to not die before you have to worry about anything else. Okay, I mean, Snap Keep. Hope I don't get Cage Cabal Therapied on turn 1. Or lose on turn 1 somehow. Shit. This is one of the cards that can kill me on turn 1. Yeah, if opponent goes Breakthrough, Hold Priority, Crack Lion's Eye Diamond, I might just lose. Alright, it's going to be multiple Faithless Lootings, is what it looks like. Okay, did not hold priority, so they could still flashback Faithless Looting here. But they didn't, they're taking their time. Okay, that's good news for me. I needed that to happen. I have to imagine that they're able to remove a Grafdigger's Cage. This is a player who just won a Legacy Challenge. Obviously, they know about Graveyard Hate. Milled over Shenanigans, that's disappointing. That is a clean answer to Cage forever. Breakthrough X equals 1, so they get to keep one of these cards. Just sending it here, not respecting the Cage at all. Obviously, there's a plan in place here. Narcomoeba triggers, but does not come into play. 27 cards in the graveyard. Can Dredge Shenanigans and kill me next turn? I need Surgical Extraction right now, I think. Or a second Cage. Yo, alright. Game on, gamers. Okay, I'm going to put back Thundering Falls and Misty Rainforest. I'm going to Surgically Extract Shenanigans and hope that the game ends. Oh, that was also the hand? Do they have any other outs here? I don't think so. That's 2 Shenanigans in exile. No hand. I'm going to waste. Wow, okay. Important layering of the pieces. We got the GGs. He knows he can't beat the Cage anymore. Wow, sweet. I mean, that decision's interesting. I assume it's correct because he knows what he's doing, but taking the turn to fill the graveyard so Shenanigans is lethal next turn versus blocking the Shenanigans now and dealing with the Cage. Makes sense to do it that way, but does expose you to Surgical Extraction. Okay, a 4-on-1, losing only to Show and Tell, who threaded the needle like crazy. I also noticed while I was playing that Show and Tell opponent's name popped up on the trophy board, so they finished their league undefeated. Congrats, opponent. Yeah, I mean, obviously this deck's great. It's scrappy Magic. You're making a lot of small decisions. I would personally play Chain Lightning over one of the Unholy Heats. That extra damage to go face, especially with haste creatures and prowess creatures as your win condition feels good. Though the Chain Lightning is, are you more worried about Barrowgoyf specifically with Unholy Heat? Or are you more worried about combo decks or Tamiyos or mirror match kind of things? I think having 1-on-1 covers most bases. I would also cut one of the 2 Stifles for just another land. Going from slightly worse than 1-4 cards in your deck being a mana source to exactly 1-4 cards in your deck being a mana source feels right to me. I just want to keep more hands, and those games that I had to mull to 5, though I did win several of them, I have to give it up there. I would still rather just keep 7 and let my cantrips do the work. Especially when there's such a weird card like Stifle existing in the main deck. Like, this card is medium minus as a card. I boarded it out almost every matchup. I understand it's useful versus Thassa's Oracle and Atraxa and stuff, which do matter in the format, but also they matter less than mulling to 5. Those are my thoughts about that. I probably will not select this deck for upcoming events. I did enjoy some of the other decks that I tried in this Sweaty Tryhard series more than this one. But if you like this sort of thing, and I love casting Lightning Bolt, I'm just not really vibing with this deck the way I do with other ones. But if you are, power to you. Deck's obviously great. I'm going to leave this one here. This was Izzet Cori-Steel Tempo. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon to support the channel. I will also be posting my final choices for the decks I play for all those upcoming tournaments I've been talking about, including Eternal Weekend later in the year, in the Patreon. If you want that, that's where you find it. See you next time.